Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here. Don't know if it's too early to say Merry Christmas. It's not quite Christmas here yet, in the UK at least. It might be in some parts of the world, but I mean, it is Christmas Eve. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this third and penultimate part of just try and make sure I put the right title in. So put part 4, part 3, sorry. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy it, and it's all about trying to encourage people to be charitable at Christmas. So I hope I'll inspire some people at least to be as charitable as possible, like think about their neighbours or the world or those who are less fortunate. If I was more organised and wasn't ill, I would, especially the latter thing actually, I'd probably try and help out at some charities, or like even like if it's like a food bank, like feeding people or stuff like that. But I'd love to encourage people to do that kind of thing. Although I can't cook myself, but I could at least help to like serve food perhaps, and like talk to people who are isolated or whatever. But I'd love to know your suggestions. I'd say how I or others could be more charitable, like help as many people as possible. I think pretty much, I wouldn't say everything, but pretty over half of what I do is probably charitable, I'd say. But anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling. I can't think of much else to say for the intro. I was wondering whether to finish this off because I couldn't really think of much to say, and I was worrying whether people would enjoy it. But I think it'd be good to encourage people to be charitable at Christmas, as well as enjoying yourself. I hope you enjoy yourself as well. I think that's important. Like, I think if you can enjoy yourself and raise money for charity and help others, I think that's even better. If you can help, if you can enjoy yourself themselves as well. That's why one of the reasons why I love to do like football fundraisers in the future and stuff like that, and work with other people and like have football matches that raise funds. It's not an original idea, but anyway, sorry, I'm going to stop waffling. And here goes. These are ideas number 21 to 30. And here goes. So number 21, I want to support my ancestral homelands or places where my known ancestry is from, such as Ireland, Scotland, France, and especially India, and also where I have connections from, like family or extended family, like in a place like Tunisia, where I have extended relatives, like where my stepdad's from, basically. So yeah, I suppose from a slightly more selfish or biased point of view, perhaps you could say. Although I think there's a lot of just reasons to support Ireland and India, especially, and even Tunisia. Like, Italy kept trying to invade them, I think, and I think invade them as well. So, as someone who's an anti-imperialist, I think there are good reasons to support Tunisia as well. Excuse me, to support Ireland, India, and Tunisia, and places like that. And I think there was something else I was going to say, but I've completely forgotten. Oh yeah, in parts 1 and 2, I think I could have mentioned, and I forgot to mention. I think I was going to mention it in point number 11 after I forgot to. So in point number 1, so third time looking, I suppose. But as I say, 21 again, like memories. But I would love to support startups and SMEs from what I call the 6, which I've mentioned in previous videos. So I won't mention them here, but basically developing nations or former colonies or whatnot. Let's say emerging market economies, and like how they can support each other and how people can support their SMEs and that kind of thing, startups and SMEs and that kind of thing. Number 22, once again, I'd love to read and hear from other people, like what are some worthy causes to support, and what are some ways to help people. Like it could be elderly neighbours or food drives for homeless people or less fortunate, even in developing nations like the UK or America or places like that. A lot of churches and organisations try and help with those sorts of things. So those are some ways that people could perhaps be active in supporting their community, like one of my friends does. So yeah, I think that those are some good ways to support people. And I think if what I call the 6 work together, they could support each other's countries to help them to go from emerging market economies maybe to emerged market economies. Like if African nations and other former colonies and emerging market economies helped each other, I think they could achieve a lot. It'd be interesting to see what they could achieve. Number 23, I'd love to help the poorest possible people all around the world. Number 24, I'd love to support special needs schools myself. So for people with dyslexia, ADHD, and basically what we call nowadays neurodiverse or neurodivergent conditions. You could say special needs, learning disabilities, learning this difference. People with learning differences, or whatever other terms you want to use. Some people say difference rather than disability. But yeah, the modern term is neurodiverse or neurodivergent, which some people may have heard of and some people probably haven't. And I posted in the link for the description on both Facebook and YouTube about the school I support, the Rare Gem School in Kenya. But with Momentum, I'm hoping to do well. If I do well enough supporting the Rare Gem School, I hope that I'll do that for other schools across Africa and Asia. Number 25, talking about the Rare Gem School, I dream that they will have, and I did put this in the description, but I'll say it again anyway, just in case people don't understand what the description says because of my punctuation or whatever, for whatever other reason, or just to say it twice, I suppose, just in case people don't see the description or whatever. I dream that they will have a PC or laptop or even mobile phone for each possible student, maybe two or even all three of those things, so that the students can learn. I'd also love for them to have like a STEM room where they can learn about science, tech, engineering, and so maths, i.e. STEM, and also an I.C.T suite specifically so they can learn about I.C.T. Or tech suite so they can learn about technology generally, like including programming, coding, or all sorts of areas about technology, AI, making apps maybe even, and things like that. And also maybe areas where they learn about business, investing and things like that, and like hopefully people can mentor them. I would love to get my fellow dyslexics like Richard Branson through Virgin Unite or whatnot to make to help them. The idea of Virgin Enterprises, like they were virgins at business, so I suppose it could be they could help startups in Africa, Asia, Ireland, Latin America, and basically what I call the six. So like indigenous people from Africa, Australasia, and the Americas as well, who are like virgins at business, i.e. first-time business people. So like they can learn about business. Hope that's not too controversial a term, but yeah, so they can learn about business, STEM, tech, I.C.T, and tech generally. And also I'd love for them to have indoor and outdoor fields, indoor gymnasium and things like that. Not like actual gym, obviously, because they'd be too young to do actual gymming, but like places where they could play sports, like things like dodgeball, basketball, netball, and different sports. For me, I only focus on football, as people who've seen my previous videos will probably know. But if they want to play other sports, I think it'd be good if they had that option. So I'd love them to have all the things that a modern school would probably have in a first world country, even. Maybe even better, like just have the best possible things they can have. So I hope they'll have some maybe fellow Kenyans, people from across Africa, and my fellow dyslexics like Richard Branson. Also like people like Craig McCaw, he talks about being ethical. Maybe I'm being naive, maybe. I mean, he could prove he's ethical perhaps by supporting things like this. Charles Schwab, who made Schwab Corp. People in America might have heard of Schwab Corp. I'm sure most Americans will have probably heard of them. He already has something, I think it's called SparkTop, which he had ages ago. I'm not sure if it works in the same way, but they help students with learning disabilities in America. So I think it'd be pretty cool if he helped the Rare Gem School as well. and also Paul Orfala, the Lebanese American with dyslexia and ADHD. I think it'd be quite fitting if he helped as well. So like SparkTop, Charles Schwab, the Helen and Schwab Foundation, the Orfala Foundation, or however you pronounce it. Like Paul Orfala already does like a lot of charitable work helping disadvantaged students, including Hispanics and Latinos in America. So I think it'd be cool. I mean, he did say like when in an interview I saw him in that he doesn't like when people come to him and say, "Would you like to help children, or do you care about children in Ethiopia or stuff like that?" And he says, Of course, you do care, but you're not going to be able to solve those problems. But this is a problem he could sort of solve, which is helping Kenya's youth to learn about business and investing, technology, and things like that, and help them to I think he talked about like helping Hispanic and Latino students with like swimming and things like learning to swim. That's something maybe like the gems, as we call them, could learn to swim, things like that. And again, with momentum, whatever I do for Rare Gem School, if I achieve success, I can replicate that success, hopefully, and all being well, take that and do similar, if not the same, pretty much, give or take, with other schools in maybe even China, India. I often talk about like Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Singapore, South Africa. Obviously that's in Africa as well. But also parts of Asia, as I just mentioned, and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping with momentum, I can find other schools to support in developing nations as well as just the Rare Gem. I only support them at the moment. They're the only one I support at the moment because they're the only ones I have connections with or contacts with. So hopefully I can support them as much as possible, and maybe like people can when I put the link. One of the things is people can find out more about them, and also, for instance, find out how to donate, and also maybe contact the school or the organisation itself. I'm thinking of sharing the link in the comments, or hopefully I will share the link in the comments for the dyslexia organisation generally. So that could be more dyslexia organisation of Kenya, the dyslexia organisation of Kenya, so that people. That would be more hopefully for adults as well. So this would help children for the future, but there might be adults who also need support. So I hope people will support both organisations, as many of those in Africa and Asia as possible. Anyway, moving on, number 26. I suppose one of the reasons why I support Rare Gem, if I'm honest, the Rare Gem School, is because I'm an anti-imperialist, and that's one of the reasons why I want to support, or the main reason why I want to support the six. So I'd love to support anti-imperial projects and basically former colonies, and I think, to be honest. Number 27, I also think it'd be good to give back to those who support you, try and find ways to reward those who help you, and that kind of thing. And I suppose one of the reasons why I want to support India on that note is because I think Malaysia, India, Indonesia and Singapore, I think they treated my fellow Eurasians, including Anglo-Indians and Kwistangs and others, very well. Well, I know I would love for Eurasians to come together and find out ways we could give back and say thank you to those nations, for instance, by improving their quality of life, their security and things like that. Anyway, moving on. Number 28, I hope I can find ways to turn negatives into positives, and so help victims of natural disasters. I was thinking recently in the unfortunate earthquakes in China, I heard a little bit about them, and I thought, as bad as that situation is, it could be a good way for China and India to come together, and Asian nations to come together and talk about how to help each other with those issues. So, as unfortunate as natural disasters are, there could be one good thing that comes from them. Maybe it could bring together different African and Asian nations, although I'd rather they didn't have natural disasters. But it is c'est la vie, as they say. Such as life. I think that means in English. Number 29, as I say, I do have some biases. I would love to help those with things in common with me sometimes, but I would still love to support the poorest amongst the poor. Although, as I say, I'd love to fundraise for Italian football, which is a bit more of a bias, selfish thing, and also places where my ancestry came from, and also for those with memory problems, and also for my fellow Anglo-Indians in India who are struggling. So yeah, I suppose people with things in common with me. And number 30, as ever, I would love to read what you think about these mad ideas. I think that covers everything. So I'd love to see, how much I could support the Rare Gem School and Dyslexia Organisation of Kenya. Could I support Kenyans with dyslexia to set up their own businesses and do well and contribute to themselves and their families and their country and even their continent? And through that momentum, I wonder if I could help other schools and organisations across Africa and Asia, especially for those with special needs or learning disabilities, neurodiverse conditions, is what I was going to say. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I am out. Peace and love.